Good morning, good evening, and a warm welcome. It's again Friday and time for our happy hours of coaching. We do have a lot of people who have attended these sessions in the past, but for those of you who are new to this session, first of all, a warm welcome from me. My name is Ashutosh Bhattodekar. I belong to a place called Pune. I'm practically stuck in this city in my apartment for last almost 1.5 years now because of COVID-19 situation, I would say. And it's interesting to see participants from across the globe today. So we have a very diverse crowd today. Some of you already have interacted with me in the past. We have spoken also multiple times. So I see a very diverse crowd today. We have a lot of cities from India today. Jaipur, we have Pune, we have Mumbai, and I think we also have a lot of international audience today. So we have folks from Netherlands, United States of America, Lahore, Pakistan. So really happy to see the entire world converge at this place today. And welcome once again to this session where I am trying to demystify some of the interesting words which we see in our transformation. We always come across these words, transition, transformation. And at least from my experience, I can say that we end up mixing the two. We use these words very casually in our day-to-day coaching, I would say observations, or in our coaching conversations with our teams. We use these words very casually as if they mean the same. But what I'm trying to today decipher in this short talk is that what is the fundamental difference between transition and transformation, and how as a coach we should be careful to use what word where, and first of all, of course, to understand the meaning of this term, right? What is transition? What is transformation? And many times, as I said, we end up doing transformation where actually transition is what is more important in those situations, and vice versa. So once again, welcome all of you to this session, and it's wonderful to interact with such a diverse crowd today. Before I move into the topic, some information about myself. Most of us are already connected on LinkedIn, but in case any of you is not connected with me on LinkedIn, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter, but not active on Twitter, to be very honest. So LinkedIn is the best place for you to find me. I also publish a lot of articles on DZone. So if you search with my name, you will get to see a lot of articles written by me. And very recently, I have launched a channel on YouTube. You can just search Agile Coaching and Transformation Leadership, and you will find videos of the past sessions of happy hours of coaching, which are conducted by various speakers across the world. So that's in brief about myself. My Agile journey began around 12 years back with one of the leading banks in India. And then my role started as a Scrum Master. I had just, I would say, okay, now I don't know which word should I use. Maybe you should tell me. Should I use the word transition or should I use the word transformation? Where I had either transitioned from a project manager into a Scrum Master role, or I had transformed from a project manager into a Scrum Master role. So I leave it to you to decide, and maybe you can give me the answer after this talk is over. Right, so that's been my journey as far as the start of my Agile journey, and since then I have been playing the role of an enterprise Agile coach for last 4 to 5 years, dealing with clients across telecom, across travel and logistics, across BFSI, and also across telecom domain. So I have been a part of these, I would say, Agile coaching journey as a part of these different domains. So before I start, just a word of, sympathy for our frontline workers, our health frontline workers who are really fighting it out there and saving lives of people, you and me here in India. I think you know what the last few weeks have been, right? Especially with the crisis which is going on from the number of cases which have spiraled. And yeah, it's a big salute to our doctors, our nurses, our paramedical staff here who are, in spite of all these pressures, in spite of all these changes, at the end of the day, they are having a smiling face too and protecting us. A big salute to our frontline health workers in India. And one of the quotes which came to my mind is this quote. A very famous quote by a very famous person, Lenin. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. I think this is something which is very apt in the troubled times we are in today. And I firmly believe that these troubled times will go off soon. But as we speak, as we are heading into the second, I would say, wave of or tsunami of coronavirus in India, I think this is a quote which is apt for all of us. So just a big request to all of you, please follow social distancing. Please wear masks when you go out. Also make sure that your family members, society members are protected. And yeah, even if you have got a vaccine, even if you have got a vaccine, first dose, second dose, treat as if you have not got a vaccine and take all the precautions. This is just a social message which I'm hearing from this platform, just to make sure that all of us are protected, all of us meet in person, and talk about what's happening in the agile world. So looking forward for that to happen soon. Many of people ask me that why this name Happy Hours of Coaching. I mean, where did this idea come for Happy Hours of Coaching? So to be very honest, I mean 2018, 19, and a major part of I would say the early part of 2020, I was never stationed in the place where I am today. Right, I belong to a city called Pune, but I used to always travel. So Monday morning I used to catch a flight. Either I used to go to Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Friday evening I used to come back. I used to take a flight back and come back to my home city, Pune. And you know what? When I used to take a flight back in any of these airports, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, or Delhi, I used to spend my time in a lounge and enjoy the happy hours, because that was the kind of a weekend which used to start somewhere around similar time. Somewhere around 8:15 is when I used to have a flight at around 10 o'clock in the night, considering that the work has to be over by 6 o'clock. And it used to take me around 1.5 hours or 2 hours to the airport. So the time between after check-in and taking a flight, I used to actually spend in a lounge. And that's where this idea of happy hours came. Unfortunately, that life is a past life of mine. I don't know when it will come, but hoping that it comes soon. But till that time, I thought that I will spend that time with people like you, learning from all of you and sharing whatever little knowledge I have about agile way of working. So that's how, I mean, this was a question which was asked to me by many people, that how did this name Happy Hour of Coaching come to you? And now I'm telling you for the first time to this entire audience. All right, let us start with a quick icebreaker. And yeah, I know the picture which I'm giving is of an Indian there in the next, but has anyone seen this picture, or does anyone know about what this picture is? Have you ever seen this picture? I mean, we all see celebrities, right? I mean, we are so used to seeing celebrities, whether it is Bollywood, whether it is cricket, whether it is politics for that matter, without going into the details of it. We're so used to seeing celebrities, but have you ever come across this picture and the context of this picture? And it is somewhere related to the topic what we have today. Somewhere it is closely related to topic which we have. Yes, it is. So please don't Google it. It is the movie is Manji, of course, but it is based on a real life persona. This movie, which came 2016, a very, I mean, it was not a commercially success movie. Obviously, such movies don't get a crowd what any of the Bollywood celebrity would be getting. But yes, this person is Dashrath Manji. And you know what's unique about this person? The unique thing about this person is he alone dug a road in India, which actually reduced distance between two cities to a mere 110 meters. Earlier, it used to take almost 3 to 5 hours to travel because there was a mountain between the two cities. He on his own dug the road for 22 years. It's 22 years he worked on this without any money, without any support from the government, without any, I would say, as such recognition, right? I mean, yes, he was later on recognized after the road was ready, but after 22 years, he actually laid, he could actually achieve constructing the road which shortened the village between two villages in the Gaya district. So this is in Gaya district of Bihar in India, one of the states in India where this road was dug. And he merely made this road from a distance from 55 kilometers to 15 kilometers. And the government of India, of course, issued a postage stamp in his name. But these are the kind of stories which inspire us, right? I mean, these are the stories which tells us what transformation is all about, right? We always say, right, like what a very famous president has said, don't ask what America can do for you. Think what you can do for America. So I think this is where the same logic I will apply, or the same analogy I will apply in our corporate world. Don't expect the company to do anything for you. First, tell us what will you do for the organization. And then, yes, the organization is there, the company is there to help you, to facilitate you. But first, as a change agent, as a change leader, what is it that you are giving back to the organization? Am I really spending my time in delivering something value added to the organization? I do understand the fact that we don't stay with organizations for long. We might stay there for only 2 years, 3 years. Some people might stay for a longer time, 7 years, 5 years, 10 years. But at the end of the day, what I would rate my tenure in any organization is, what is it that I have been able to give it back? Give it back to the organization in view of whatever perks I'm getting, whatever salary I'm getting, right? So with that note, on that note, let me now deep dive into a topic, right? I think, as I said, right, many of us have got this confusion between transition and transformation. And as I said, we tend to mix these two terms together. We actually make these two terms, intermix these two terms together, and which is where it leads to a lot of confusion, which is where it leads to a lot of chaos in our day-to-day transaction, right? I mean, as you can see the picture there, the picture actually describes what transformation is. This is not transition, this is a transformation. The caterpillar turning into a butterfly is an example of a transformation. So what is the dictionary meaning of the term transition, and what is the dictionary meaning of the transformation? Transition is the process, I'm just reading it out, or the movement from one state to another state. So all of us transition in life. We transition from child, in fact, we transition from baby to child. We transition from child to an adolescent, right? We transition from a child to an adolescent, right? That is what we call as transition. Transformation is a marked change in form, in nature, or appearance, right? So transformation means we completely rebrand or repackage, or I would say redevelop ourselves, is what is called as formation. That's a overhaul what we have. So let's say tomorrow I do a plastic surgery and I change my face. I completely change my face, I change my eye structure. That is what we call as a transformation. That is nothing but a transformation what we have, right? So, I'm first trying to give a dictionary meaning of the word transition and transformation, and then we will try to go into the specifics of it. And then, of course, we'll try to contextualize it when to our ways of working. So when we use this words transition and transformation, what do we make out of it? All right, moving ahead. So let me give an example here. A very interesting example, right? A small kitten transitioning into a kind of a cat, and as you can see, the facial expressions are just same. Luckily, the facial expressions are just for both of them. It's only the size which matters, right? You can see the size which it has undergone a change, right? So this is what we call as a transition. This is nothing but a transition. I mean, the cat is still going to have some of the attributes what she displayed in her childhood, right? Still that we always say, right? The child is the father of the man, the very famous quote. The same thing will apply here, right? I mean, this is what we call as a transition. She transitioned herself from a mini kitten into a big cat, right? Otherwise, if you see the body features, the color, the texture, the combination has more or less remained the same in this picture. I'm more specifically talking about this picture. It has more or less remained the same without any major fundamental change. Now, what is transformation? Now, the picture next, which I'm going to show you, some people might find it a little very weird or little comedy in that picture. Yeah, that's what is transformation. A cat looking herself into the mirror and imagining, first of all, so there could be 2-3 interpretations of it. That I look into the mirror daily and I think, you know what, I'm not a cat. I'm actually a tiger, which is the king of the jungle. I'm actually a tiger. That is the impression which I'm getting. This could be a false mirror. I'm that it is a right mirror. But this could be a false, I would say, mirror, which is showing me that, oh, you know what, I'm not just a cat. I'm at the end of the day a tiger. I'm at the end of the day a tiger. Or I look at this picture in a different way, that I look in the mirror and I don't look straight. I look at what I will look after, or what I will look after 10 years. So this, another way of interpreting this picture can be that it's an aspirational picture. It's an aspiration what you're looking for. So you're looking for an aspiration or an inspiration that, you know what, at the end of next 5 years, 10 years, this is where I see. So this is a vision I see about myself. This is the position I see about myself. Many of us do that, right? When we're sitting in office, when we are in between breaks, we always give a deep dive introspection as to what will be my career after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. How will I look, right? Or what all are the activities I would be doing, right? So that's an inspirational role what you are taking, right? That's a kind of a inspiration what you're bringing in forward, and this is how I look at it. So the fundamental difference between transition and transformation is that in a transition, the movement is, I would say, it is almost in that same zone. If I were to say, I'm a cat and I'll continue to be like a cat. But when I'm talking about a transformation, although I'm a cat, I know I'm a cat. I'm inspiring myself to be something more. I'm saying that no, I might be a tiger. I might groom into a tiger. So don't go literally into the animal kingdom, the evolution of animals. Okay, I know there will be a lot of animal experts here. This is just from an example sake. I'm giving this example, but this is what we call as the fundamental difference between transition and transformation. Just to put it in a pictorial format, just to put it in a very pictorial format, and that is what I would like to put it here. Now, moving ahead, how do we contextualize this into our world? Now, I'm slightly going to go into a deep dive into a ground level, the work what most of us do. I'm sure many of us are playing the role of a scrum master and an agile coach, or we could be a change leader, we could be product owners in our transformation. So I'm just trying to contextualize this. Now, if I were to replicate these pictures, and as agile coaches, fundamentally, the first thing what we do, or even for that matter, Scrum Master, we are involved in, I would say, changing our team's working style from a traditional waterfall way of working into what we call as an agile way of working. This is, I believe, everyone, I mean, whosoever is a Scrum Master in the audience or whosoever is an agile coach in the audience, what we see is this is a fundamental role all of you are doing. Do you agree with me? You can just put it in the chat window, yes or no. Do you agree that this is what we do at the end of the day? I mean, especially people who are working as an agile coach, scrum master, change agent. Yeah. Okay. So what is this? Is this transition or is this transformation? Let me ask this question. If this is what we understand is the picture what we have daily, is this transition or is this transformation? Let me ask this question. Okay, so I'm getting transformation as the answer. Okay, you are saying transformation. Oh, we now have transition also. Okay, I'm saying transition certainly. Okay, then we have a mix. So I think if I do a poll, I think it will come out to be 50-50. 50% probably is, but I think it is not 50-50, it is 40-60. 40 are saying transition, 60% are saying it is transformation. Okay, interesting question. I mean, an interesting, I would say, answer. I would say this is transition. This is not transformation. This is just a transition, friends. There's no transformation involved here. Where do you see a transformation here, right? I'm a small cat coming into a big cat. That is what is a transition what I'm doing. I'm just transitioning from one way of working into another way of working. And that's a fundamental mistake which we as Scrum Masters and Agile coaches even make in an interview. I've seen this fundamental mistake being interviewed. So when I ask interviewees, okay, tell me what all you did in transition. The first answer would be that, you know what, this team was working in waterfall and I trained them. I trained them into an agile way of working. So then I further asked, what did you do after that? Oh, you know what? I trained them into Scrum. I trained them into Kanban. I trained them into writing user stories, estimation, planning focus, story points, blah, blah, blah. I mean, those standard terminology comes out, right? What is there in any two-day agile course? They will actually tell everything. But friends, that is not transformation. That is transition. You have just transitioned from one way to another way, right? Tomorrow you might transition
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you all hear me now? I think there's some audio problem. Okay, yeah. So what I was repeating was, sorry for the audio breakage. Yeah, what I was saying was that if this is what you're calling as a transformation, or if this is what the organization is expecting you to do transformation, this is not agile transformation. This is pure transition activity, what we have. Agile transformation is not just changing from a waterfall to an agile way of working, or replacing your big requirement documentation with, let us say, a user story or an epic. It is much more than that. There are much more nuances to an agile transformation or to an agile way of working, right? So this is a pure transition exercise what we have. So now apparently the obvious question which will come is, which is the picture which is what depicts this? A cat looking into a mirror and finding that it's a tiger or a lion. And this is a vision. This is a vision I have about my transformation, about the engagement where I'm working. This is a vision which I want to go ahead with. Now, what is that picture? The picture is a very simple picture. Okay, no complicated picture. The transformation picture is this picture. So when we talk about a transformation, it's an entire 360-degree package. As a transformation expert or as a transformation agent, what is a value you're bringing when you're doing this transition? One thing maybe I missed to tell you, or it got lost in the sound changeover, was that for transformation to happen, definitely the route will go through transition. Yes, definitely the conduit or the route will go through transition, but the transformation in this case is a full 360-degree package what comes with that. At the end of the day, when you have done this, what is the value you have delivered to the business? What is the business outcome or the value which you have given to the business? So at the end of the day, what is important is value to the business. That was there any sense in doing this? Otherwise, waterfall is absolutely fine, right? Waterfall is absolutely fine. Why change from a traditional way of working into an agile way of working when things are really working absolutely fine, right? Why unnecessarily apply that change? So the crux of a transformation is that at the end of the day, what business value or an outcome what you have given? What is a business value or an outcome you have given in this particular transformation, right? That is what is the crux of any transformation activity what we have. So we can measure that across multiple dimensions. We can measure across, for example, if you can see across business, we can measure across the product growth, we can measure across the social value. Social value has become a very important dimension these days. Social value, what is the social value of a product, especially for products like I would say social media products like Twitter, Facebooks, etc. So that's what we call it as the business outcome of the transformation. So at the end of the day, what is the business outcome this transformation is giving? What is the business outcome this transformation is giving is what is fundamentally very, very important. So one of the fundamental difference which I would like to highlight is, if I were to look at the hierarchy of business impact, you have some inputs to the process. The inputs to the process are right mind, right thought, right equipment. You do some action and you generate some output. This is nothing but transition. This is pure transition activities we do, and it doesn't need an agile for this. You could do this in waterfall also. That means you have some inputs that, okay, these are the requirements. In order to meet those requirements, you have to do some action. So you hire team members, you hire them, you train them, you coach them, and then you have some outputs. You have some output across this, and these output are nothing but your story completion, your demos, etc. what you do, and this is a transition activity. But what transforms the engagement is that at the end of the day, whatever feature you have developed, what is the outcome of that feature? What is my business gaining out of that feature? Are they really getting any value out of that feature? Or is it something that they have actually, it's just a feature for the sake of it, we have developed it? And what is the impact to the business? At the end of the day, what is the impact which all these things have to the business? Now, the challenge is that converting this output into outcome and value is fundamentally very, very difficult. And in each of the engagement where we go in as a scrum master or an agile coach, we have to be an Einstein, which means we have to derive this equation. You cannot apply what worked for, let's say, BFSI into a telecom industry. You cannot apply what worked in telecom industry into a pharmaceutical industry. So as such, there is no, I would say, exchange of formula which is possible. So what we need to do is we need to ensure that at the end of the day, as a coach, as a scrum master, whatever output we are getting, how do we convert it into an impact, or how do we convert it into an outcome, and from outcome how do we convert it into an impact? That's the real, I would say, benefit of a transformation, or that I would say is a fundamental difference between transition and transformation from an agile contextualization. So if I were to contextualize it from an agile way of working, this is how I would say is a fundamental difference between transition and transformation. So moving ahead, let me ask you a very simple question. Let me ask you a very simple question that let's say you're attending an interview for a scrum master or an agile coach, and the interviewer asks you, how do you measure whether your agile is on the right track? What are the metrics you measure which are on the right track? Or how do you decide that your matrix, which are those matrix which will tell you how your agile is working upon, whether it is working or not? So what will be your answer? Any thoughts on that? What will be your answer to that question? Any matrix which you think would be required, or which we should be measuring in in an agile way of working? You can also speak if you want. You can unmute yourself and speak. Cycle time. Okay. Cycle time. Interesting. Is it cycle time or lead time? I don't know. Is it cycle time or lead time what we have? I don't know. Business value added. Anyone else? Anyone else? Business value added. Predictability, time to market. Interesting. Predictability, time to market. Lead time, NPS. Customer churn. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. I'll tell you what answers I get. And surprisingly, I haven't got, yeah, I think most of you have attended my Agile Coaching Masterclass session. So I think many of you know this probably slide. But the answer which I get mostly is, don't you think we should be measuring velocity? This is the answer which I get. What about velocity? What about say-do ratio? How much you are committing and how much you are delivering? How many stories you are committing, against that, how many have you delivered? Right? Don't you think that also is a metric? And most of us say those metrics. Most of us say those metrics are the ones which we measure in a transformation. A say-do ratio, or commitment, committed versus delivered, right? Those are the metrics what we deliver. And definitely those are important metrics. I'm not denying the fact that those are very, very important metrics what we have in a transformation, but those are not transformation matrix. Those are your transition matrix. So when next time when someone asks you about velocity, someone asks you about say-do ratio, and yeah, that very famous illogical metric, how much is one story point equal to? I'm sure this question has puzzled more than Archimedes principle, right? More than Archimedes principle, this has puzzled all of us, right? Story point to our conversation. I personally believe that's a very illogical conversation, sorry. You will never be able to convert a story point into an hour, right? You will never be able to convert a story point into an hour. These are two different things. They are no way connected with each other. And that's a fundamental mistake we make. We say one story point is equal to 8 hours and we plan an estimation. That's not the correct way of doing it. And maybe we can talk about it at some later point in time, at some later, I would say, talks. We'll try to talk more about it, that why it is a illogical conversion what we have. The real transformation matrix are mainly related to your net promoter score. How many customers you added, customer growth, product growth, your social indicator matrix. So if it's a, let's say, an e-governance project, because of this app, how many people got literate, or how many people's lives were saved because this app actually indicated that I'm entering a red zone as far as COVID-19 vaccine is concerned. right? So these are what we call as the transformation matrix which we should be measuring in any of the transformation. I'm not saying that you should not be measuring the transition matrix. Definitely velocity and say-do ratio we should be measuring, but at the same time they have a limitation. You cannot really vouch your productivity, or you cannot vouch your efficiency gain or the success or failure of an agile initiative on the basis of velocity and say-do ratio. They are just a kind of a dipstick measure what we have. The real benefit or the real value of a transformation will come in when you are actually finding out how many customers I could add, what was my product growth, how many downloads happened from my Play Store. So once this product was released on the Play Store, how many downloads did it really actually occur in the product, right? So those come in as a part of our transformation matrix. So we have transition matrix, we have transformation matrix. And as a coach, I would say that the needle has to tilt towards the right hand side. It has to move more towards the right hand side. And I think many of you also mentioned those metrics in the chat box also. A cycle time, I would say a better metric would be a lead time rather than a cycle time. I would put a lead time as a better metric. And in fact, I will encourage, or I would say coach my team to make sure that the cycle time is as closer to the lead time as it can get, right? So this is something which we should be measuring in any transformation, and that's what is the real transformation. So, and be careful when you're even writing these things in your resume, right? These things matter a lot. These things matter a lot. Okay, I mean, get the right vocabulary, get the right context around it, and then write it down, right? Otherwise the people will definitely catch you there. Okay, people are smart enough than you, and they will catch you there in your CVs when it goes for a check or when it goes for an interview. Please make sure that you understand the differences between these two terms. What exactly are these two terms, and how these two terms are going to play out, right? So transition matrix versus transformation matrix. Okay, so yeah, so what's next, right? I mean, what's next? I mean, how do we, or where do we go from here, right? Where do we go from here is what we need to understand. And let me give a very interesting example of transformation to end this talk, and then I'll open up for Q&A. I think one of the best examples I have come across is the Indian superstar Amitabh Bachchan, right? And why I personally brought it here is, if you look at his career graph, there has always been ups and downs. There have always been ups and downs in his career graph. Yet he has not only survived, but thrived over the years. So just a brief history. I think 200 plus movies. 1982 was a turning point in his life where he had almost lost his life. I'm talking about 40 years back, right? He had almost lost his life, a major life-threatening injury during shooting. He bounces back, but then there's a failure in front of him. He went into politics but failed miserably. Then again, 87 to 97 was a period when some movies were hit, but majority of the ventures he did was a failure. Business was a failure in movies. He was rejected as a hero. He then bounced back into television. That's a transformation. 1999, he bounces back into television, and 2000 back in Bollywood as a character artist. And then the career streamlines from there, right? So that's what I would say is a transformational experience what we have. That is nothing but a transformational experience. If you look at his personal journey, how he has evolved over the years and how he has transformed from a kind of a roller coaster ride, how he has moved into that journey. Yeah, so with that, I take a pause here and open up for any questions. Meanwhile, you can connect on our YouTube channel. There are a lot of other interesting videos available there. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I have my email ID also given along with a Twitter account. So please feel free to connect. And I do see there are some questions which are there. Meanwhile, if you want to come on a video, you're free enough to do that. Yeah, Himadri has a question. Sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Which lead time or cycle time does not consider? No, I said lead time is a better metric than a cycle time. So what I said was lead time is a better metric than a cycle time. So cycle time will somehow give a false measurement. So lead time is a better metric over a cycle time. Okay, you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Yeah, hi. Myself is Himadri. So
Yeah,
my
Himani.
point was not to lead time or cycle time. What I was referring was if I talk truly about business agility and transformation, then I would say my top matrix would be the time to pivot,
Time to
because pivot.
pivot. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because if I see cycle time, its idea has been generated and released. If I
Mhm.
say the lead time, it's about the cycle time. It's just like work has begun on the idea and till the release. If I talk about the lead time, it is about the idea generation. But the time to pivot, which actually covers you deliver something, get the feedback, and then also consider how much time you are taking to make the decision to pivot your course correction. So that
Mhm.
captured the time to pivot. So that is the, I think, the most uh, I mean strongest matrix if I talk about in the transformation cycle.
Yeah, from a business point of view, and this is mainly from an innovation perspective. Yes, I mean, when was an idea conceived, and when it went in for those iterations and then improvement, and when finally it got into the hands, or when it was implemented. I mean, that's what you're talking. Yeah,
Exactly. Because cycle time and the lead time doesn't consider about the decision making time you are taking actually, either
correct,
PO
correct.
or the team. So
Hmm.
that time actually is a crucial point. How fast you respond to the feedback with a
Hmm.
course correction. So that
Correct,
time
correct.
to pivot I found in the ABM guide in the last part, but I see that matrix has actual value that actually we are talking about in terms of agile transformation.
True, true, true. Yes, yes. I mean, definitely, yeah, that can be one of the things. Yes, that can be one of the important, I would say, levers in measuring the agility, the real sense of agility or a business agility of your transformation.
Exactly, because all other metrics are not considering the decision making time.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks, Himadri.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, you can come on camera if you're fine. I mean, people, you can come on camera. I mean, that's absolutely fine if you're okay. I mean, again, if you're okay, I know we all are working from home, so not everyone would be comfortable. But if you're
Yeah,
fine, you
yeah.
can. Yeah, yeah. Any other question? Meanwhile, any other question anyone
Uh,
has?
I have one more query.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when you talk about transformation, transition, uh, I mean, from the product owner point of view, he should always consider transformation matrix, or he should also consider the development matrix like just let me phrase my
Mm-hmm.
question. uh, I, I was reading the book product ownership, done and one of the writer, and they mentioned that pizza delivery faster, 30 minutes faster delivery, either you get it free.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very attractive matrix for the organization to and also to bring more customer. But what
Right.
happened that it leads to also certain amount of high accident rate, and that the Domino's Pizza had to change their uh, vision statement kind of, or against the brand,
Mm-hmm.
that they have to drop, and they said, test your pizza. If you're not satisfied, we are going to repeat and redeliver your pizza. So my question is, uh, when this happen,
Mm-hmm.
how should product owner perspective should be on the transformation matrix and on the transition matrix, how the line should be drawn? That is my question.
Okay, see, transition metrics. So no, I mean, I hope that impression was not created. Definitely, they are required. You cannot overlook the transition matrix. But what
Mhm.
matters at the end of the day is a transformation matrix. So, as a product owner, definitely when he or she finds something fishy here, he might have to go ahead and check it out. He or she might have to go there and check it out. It's like, right? It's like that. Okay, I mean, there have been some. I mean, let's say so this metric, transition metric, is like your oximeter, what you do at home. But your
Yes.
COVID test is this. At the end of the day, your COVID test is important, right? But
Yep.
if the COVID test is continuously coming negative and I'm getting symptoms, or if it is positive, and then I'm wondering that if it was positive, it should have been caught here. I have to definitely go and check this, whether the device is correct or not, whether the device is measuring the oxygen level in the body correctly or not. So that,
Mhm.
I would say that at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I know that Domino's example, where what started happening was, and very India specific example again, but just for the benefit of all, since we have a very global crowd, this organization promised to deliver pizza at your home in 30 minutes. Otherwise, the pizza used to come free. What started happening was the delivery boys were chased to, I mean, quickly deliver pizza. And in a zeal for doing that, they used to break traffic rules, and which is what our friend tried to say here. And what started happening was there was more problem for the organization, because there were these traffic tickets which were coming, there were these safety violations which were coming, and still at the end of the day customers were not satisfied. And that's where he said that they changed their tagline, because that's something which is coming from an external factor. That metric is coming mostly from an external factor. And then they realized that in a country like India, can you please be on mute if you're not speaking? Yeah, in a country like India, they realize that probably this metric may not work. This metric is something which will not work, and that's why they had to change this metric in view of the external factors which were coming in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And can I add one more line here?
Yes, yes, yes.
And also, what I feel, I really, I mean, enjoying your, inputs. I was thoroughly listening. So, one thing I found that if we change our mindset, instead of no measuring inside out rather than outside in. So inside out is like scope, time, budget, and then you are getting something to measure
Correct,
internally, and then outside you are delivering by your maximum efficiency. But outside in matrix, that the pizza you're talking about, they have taken environment, country, their rules, the regulations, everything, all are inside circumstances which lead them to change the tagline. So as a product owner, if I think that I should be taking my decision from outside in approach and then decide the matrix and then draw a line, do you see that will be a more mm, reliable to uh, on the success line?
True, absolutely. I mean, you have to consider the external factors. So it has to be an outside in also. That outside in perspective also has to be brought in. Like a classic case of this Domino's pizza, as we said, right? That was more like, which was outside in perspective, which they had to bring in, right? Yes, absolutely. I mean, that is something also very, very important. The outside in blended it with inside out perspective. That's correct.
Thank you so much. Yeah, please carry on.
Yeah, sure. Anyone else, any questions? Please unmute yourself and you can speak. In any case, if you are interested in subscribing to the YouTube channel, please subscribe to the channel. There are more such videos by other speakers also which are there. So feel free to subscribe to the channel, and you will see a lot of interesting content there. Just give me a minute. I'll see if I can share the link here of the YouTube channel link, so that you can directly click on this and you can connect on YouTube channel. And as I said, we have more speakers lined up in future also as a part of happy hour of coaching. So do join the future sessions also, as we have a lot of interesting speakers lined up ahead. Yeah, so I have pinged you the link of the YouTube channel. You can connect on the YouTube channel if you are interested. Yeah, anyone else, any question here? Okay, we'll just wait for some time. And none from me. Okay. And if anyone would like to come on a camera, we can come on a camera and we can take a snap if anyone is interested. In case anyone is interested, you can come on, you can open your video and okay. Okay, then. So if there are no further questions, I think we can close the session for the day. And have a happy weekend to all of you. And stay healthy, stay safe. And see you all next Friday, also evening, same time, for another round of happy hour of coaching. And we will let you know the speakers. So if you're connected with me on LinkedIn or any of these forums, you will come to know who the speaker is. And yeah, looking forward for all of you to join and enjoy the learning experience. So thanks a lot, and wishing you all the best, and stay healthy, stay safe. Bye for now. Thanks.